Okay, so I don't even know how many times I've tried to record this. I am super awkward on camera, but we're gonna get through this. Hopefully in less than 10 minutes. I think that's all I can do. So just before I start talking about the reason we're here, the reason I'm here, I'm recording this a couple of weeks after SteamyLit, and I know after SteamyLit, a number of people tested positive for COVID. Well, I did not. My assistant Liz did. And so I sincerely hope that if you did test positive for COVID, or you were or someone you loved was exposed, I hope that you all are doing better by now. It is just the reality that we live in, right? That like events of any size, but especially one that big, that would happen. With that said, it has been lovely meeting you all this summer, or any time I've gone to a book event. Whenever I'm deciding if I want to go to a signing, the thing I'm really thinking of is, are my readers going to be there? And often the answer is yes, a few here, there, and everywhere. And meeting literally even one of you has been amazing. But I definitely understand that the answer for SteamyLit was a resounding yes. Meeting you all, some of you who have been reading me for years since the beginning of my career, was very emotional for me. I'm trying not to cry because a bunch of you all were really coming from my tears in a good way at the event, at the signing, and I definitely think about you. I told all my friends about how great you were and just how lovely and affirming and kind you all were. I often talk about my readers as if they are just in a class of their own, and it could have been delusion, but now that I've met enough of you, I don't think it is. I think you all are just absolutely fantastic. And so for everyone that I met at SteamyLit or One Love Reunion or literally anywhere in the past few years, I just want to thank you. You will have no idea about how much you all mean to me, and how in a really strange year in my career, you all have made it easier for me to love writing again. So it's really happy then that I get to tell you that the reason we're here is because Welcome to Seaport is coming back. I was so excited to tell you all this summer that it's coming, and to give you those little cards of Mary, Knox, and Santos, which I don't know where they are. So this sort of message is literally just to sort of give you a brief overview of what I think that will look like, and then in preview or in some of the later newsletter updates that are going to come to your inbox, I'll have much more detail for you. So here's what I know now, and I feel sort of comfortable sharing. First of all, I will announce the pre-order sometime this fall. I know when I'm hoping to do it, but I also don't like deadlines, which is why I'm doing it this way. My original plan had been to come back with a Kickstarter, but I decided against it for a few different reasons, and probably the two most important are that I'm a little Kickstartered out, and also I don't like deadlines. Kickstarter is nothing but deadlines, and it stresses me out to no end. So this is not the project for that. Seaport is not the project to stress myself out or my assistant Kai out. And so when it is ready to come back, it will come back in a way that I hope it makes you all happy, but that also gives you something new to read in a very familiar place. When I sat down to revise this series, I'll be honest, I wanted to scrap it so many times because I could not see the vision. I felt like a totally different person, because I am a totally different person than the person I was when I started writing from scratch. In good and bad ways, mostly good. I'm trying not to cry through this, but I'm just actually thinking about my cat. But that's a whole other situation. I'll tell you about it in another newsletter update. But it took me a smooth year or so before I opened the doc and I could see the vision. I could see what you all saw when you asked me where the hell that book was. And mostly I could see why you all missed it, because I missed it as well. I missed this small southern town full of diverse, racially diverse and queer people. I miss nosy neighbors. I miss Mary, Knox, and Santos being horny on literally on Main Street. I could see it. And so Finally, I feel like I'm at a place where the stories are ready to come back to you all. In ebook, of course, but also for the very first time in paperback. That is probably the biggest change. You all have asked for those books in paperback before, but they were, one, very short, and two, needed so much work. And it's work that Kai and I have been putting in to make them better. And in this case, that means longer. It was lovely to be able to imagine the stories as I am now, to think about the story in a slightly different way, all 4 stories in a slightly different way, and also because it's me, to write a little bit more sex. I asked on Instagram if there were a couple of questions, or if anyone had questions, and I got a couple. Hopefully I'm answering, or I have answered them, but one that I do want to highlight, I think it was Amber who asked, like, if these are new stories or old stories, and right now they're old stories. Whenever we are ready to announce the pre-order period for the return, the relaunch of the series, it will be From Scratch, Inheritance, Small Town Secrets, and Her Christmas Cookie. You all have asked me about Willie's story, and Willie's story is partially why this is happening this way. In working on her story over the years, starting it and stopping, and starting it and stopping, I realized a couple things that I'll tell you about now. One in a little bit of detail, and one I'll tease for later. So let's deal with the one I'll tease for later. I realized in working on Willie's book that I want to write a spinoff, so we'll talk about that later. The other is I realized that I wasn't ready to write Willie's story until I had fleshed out some stuff relative to the town, its history, and some of the people who were there and who were coming, who I've always known were coming, but I needed to do a little bit of groundwork to make room for them. And so these are the 4 original stories, but they are a little bit longer. There is a little bit more detail. There's more sex. And also, I'm hopefully setting a stage for the next few books in the Welcome to Seaport series, because we're not stopping at Willie, and then also for that teasing spinoff. And I think that's it. I think that's where I'm going to stop. Hopefully you all are as excited as I am to get these books, not just back in your e-reader, but if you are excited about it in physical format as well for the first time. And I guess I want to end here by once again thanking you. I don't think that I would have agonized about bringing this series back and what it would look like if not for you all loving it so much. Even when I hardly talk about these books anymore, and yet you all come out of literally nowhere to tell me how excited you are to get them back in your hands, or that you've recommended them to people. When I announced in the newsletter that it was coming back, you all sent some of the nicest messages. So this is just a general blanket thank you for just being fantastic. I could never tell you enough how much I appreciate your support, and I hope that when the time comes that you will see that this parasocial relationship is in some ways a two-sided street. Two-way street? It doesn't matter. All right. It is lovely to talk to you all. I don't know if I'll do this again, but just in general, thank you for being fantastic. Thank you for being so supportive, and welcome back to Seaport.